Today, I'm diving into one of the most hardcore challenges in gaming, leveling a warrior in classic hardcore WoW. For those of you who don't know, hardcore mode means if you die, it's game over, permanently. No second chances, no do-overs. And to make things even crazier, I'm playing warrior, the class that's notoriously the hardest to level in this mode. Seriously, it's like playing on nightmare difficulty. But here's the catch, I'm completely new to classic WoW. Sure, I've played a fair bit of retail, but this is my first time stepping into the OG World of Warcraft, and I'm doing it in the most punishing way possible. Grab your snacks, buckle up, and let's find out just how far I can push this leveling journey before hardcore WoW claims another victim. So our beautiful journey starts at level 10. I had just wrapped up all the starter quests in Durotar, and it was time for me to take the Zeppelin to Tristfall Glades. I accepted a few quests in the beautiful town of Brill, and I was on my way. First up, I had to murder this dude that was chilling in his crib for like 1,000 years, judging from the way he looked. Made quick work of his undead cheeks, and then proceeded to eradicate the local population of zombie dogs. The local farmers were complaining about zombies ruining the crops, so I had to slaughter all the nearby zombies, easy enough. I then nearly had a heart attack talking to this abomination on the road, because I thought he was swinging at me when I went to talk to him. But I was just tripping, it was his animation. Anyway, this homeless undead guy wanted me to go collect pumpkins for him. Halloween had just passed, so I'm not sure why he would want so many pumpkins. Halloween had just passed, so I'm not sure why he would want so many pumpkins, but I guess it's Halloween all year round in Tristfall Glades. After the pumpkins were harvested, I murdered a few Scarlet Warriors just because I felt like it. And then I walked all the way back to Brill to accept a few more quests. I made my way to a local Scarlet camp, and well, once again, it was time to kill them. Then I walked a little more north where I killed some skeleton soldiers that were immune to my bleed ability. Pretty surprised by the realism here. You know, cause skeletons can't bleed, they don't have flesh. And I know this may be a shocker, but then I went to commit genocide on the local gnoll population. And afterwards, yet another kill quest where I killed a bunch of ghosts. Then I killed spiders for 3 hours, and at last, finally, it was time to take the notorious elevator down to Undercity. Thankfully, I'm not mentally challenged, and I didn't die to it like the multiple amount of OnlyFans streamers who did. Anyway, I got the flight path, hearth back to Durotar to get myself the quarterstaff from a weapons merchant, and that was the end of the day. On day 2, I spent some time smacking the undead dogs outside of Undercity to level my staff skill so that I could actually hit mobs without having every single one of them dodge my attacks. I then walked my way to Silverpine, which is where things started getting a little bit dangerous. I teamed up with a bunch of other dudes to escort this undead guy out of his little hut, and then I drove the local orc population to extinction because I had to slaughter like 200 of them for their hearts. I then took a nice hike through Silverpine and was met with the add-on alerting me of Son of Arugal. Not gonna lie, it was pretty scary because I had seen this guy killing a bunch of low levels in the death alerts that my add-on gives me. I safely made it to the Sepulchre though, and accepted a ton of quests there. I then went on to kill some werewolves, and this felt pretty good because this was the mob that killed my last character. And then I traveled to the Deadfield, which is a pretty iconic area because there were lots of players here. All the people here were waiting for Nightlash to spawn, which is a mob that we all needed to kill in order to get an essence of Nightlash. My group and I spent like an hour waiting to get the tag because other people kept getting it before us. Also, the spawn time was like 20 minutes. After that was done, I continued my routine of committing genocide on the local fauna and murdered a bunch of bears and spiders. I took a little breather though by the water with this fisherman because I just thought the view was pretty. Oh yeah, I also took a few screenshots because why the hell not? Once the breather was over, I ventured down this hill which seemed quite safe at first, but it turns out I somehow almost died a miserable death to the werewolves again. It was an extremely close call. I got very lucky and lost aggro at the perfect time before running out of room to run.
I'm dead. I'm dead. Holy fuck.
After such a traumatic experience, I was furious and filled with hate towards the werewolves. So I teamed up with this fire mage and we absolutely annihilated all of them. And believe it or not, I actually almost died again during this killing spree if it weren't for the mage's polymorph ability, which turns them into sheep that cannot attack.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Anyway, I logged off at the sepulture after our killing spree and called it a day. On day 3, I finished up in Silverpine and I took a bat from sepulture to Undercity. I learned an ability that will be very crucial in our journey, aka Sunder Armor, which is kind of an armor reduction ability, and it makes your auto attacks hit hardest on the mobs you're fighting. I also spent like an hour leveling my staff skill by smacking a million murlocs in the face so that I could equip the gnarled staff that I was going to buy from Lewis in Undercity. And then I hearthed back to Ogremar and walked to Razor Hill to get a quest that would get me to travel to the Barrens. After a long walk, I was finally in the Africa of World of Warcraft. I was feeling pretty lazy that day, so the session unfortunately ended there. On day 4, I made it to the crossroads and I had to accept approximately 10,324 quests. And who would have known, it was a million kill quests. So for what felt like 10 hours, I walked around slaughtering all kinds of things you would find in a place like Africa. Ostriches, zebras, raptors, humanoid porcupine boar hybrids, you know, the usual. At the same time, I made my way down towards Ratchet, which is the port city of the Barrens. I talked to Gazlo and he ordered me to kill a bunch of pirates that were pissing him off. So I teamed up with a few guys and we did exactly that. I then flew to the crossroads to spend even more time slaughtering animals and collecting their organs. Gosh, I sure do love the Barrens. Then it was finally time to start killing those disgustingly dangerous centaurs that hang around the oasis area of the Barrens. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely hated dealing with these guys. There were so many of them, some of them would summon thunderstorms on top of your head that would deal a bajillion damage, and they also had troops running around with hyenas that could aggro you out of nowhere. On day 5, I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not too sure what happened because I couldn't find the VOD from my stream. Apart from the usual extinction killing we do here, I spent like 2 hours killing these Venture Co guys for the Cat's Eye Emerald drop, which is apparently a 2% drop. That's pretty ridiculous considering it's a quest drop, but okay, whatever. I then went back to the Oasis area and collected some nice stinky mushrooms that were growing on the edge of the pond. After that was done, I flew from Camp Torajo to the crossroads and made my way into the Stonetalon mountains. On day 6, I infiltrated a Tauren mercenary camp and absolutely slaughtered all of them with the help of a special rogue I teamed up with. We then escorted this Lady Tauren out of the camp, where we proceeded to obliterate even more Tauren mercenaries in order to protect her, of course. With that taken care of, I made my way into a friendly horde camp inside the mountains, in which I accepted a quest and then headed for the Sun Rock Retreat. On our way there, the rogue from earlier had the brilliant idea of us trying to fight Besolith, which is this extremely dangerous spider boss that is chilling amongst a million other little spiders. I was feeling adventurous, so I went along with him. We spent some time killing the little spiders in the area, waiting for her to spawn. Suddenly, whilst we were fighting a regular spider, she spawned on top of us out of absolutely nowhere. This was bad because we were meant to fight her with the rogue taking aggro and with no other mobs in the fight. Things obviously went south really fast, and I seriously don't know how we made it out alive. I was 100% certain that at least one of us would die here. After that experience, we both knew we were never trying that sort of tomfoolery ever again. I finished collecting the spider eggs and made my way back to Sunrock Retreat. This place was very pretty, so I decided to just sit there and enjoy the view for a bit. I also vendored my trash, repaired my gear, and made my way to Windshear Crag. I met up with a goblin buddy of mine who was chilling in the most random place possible, but for some odd reason he was a vendor that carried the staff upgrade that I needed. I then went on to massacre a bunch of greedy corporate venture co-goblins who were deforesting the area, and I was feeling like the damn Lorax. Oh yeah, and of course I almost died because mage mobs are absolutely broken and deal way too much damage. Being tired from all the killing, I decided to take a breather and enjoy the view of this area. You know, I don't know what it is, but playing classic hardcore has made me stop in my tracks to look around and enjoy my surroundings. I had never done that before. Anyway, I then spent another like 25 hours killing Venture Co guys for the Reaper 6000 blueprint, and once that was done, I hearthed back to Camp Torajo. I stocked up on some bananas and repaired my gear. and then proceeded to kill all kinds of bristleback with a party of 2 other trolls for like an hour because the quest required us to kill a stupidly high amount of them. I then went back to the oasis area and wiped out the local turtle population for the nice little shells. I then ended a zebra's life and harvested its deliciously fresh carcass, which I used to summon a Giga Chad Apex Predator Raptor, which I also ended. Then I walked back to good old Ratchet, where I talked to Gazlo and ding level 20. This was a huge milestone for me because my last character died at level 14. I called it there for the day and went to get some well-deserved sleep. Day 7 started off with me flying back to Camp Tarajo. I then used all my bloodstones that I had to get some really nice buffs from a locked up piggy. Yeah, don't ask me the details on this one. I banged out some quick quests and then it was time to head to Mulgore. I had a beautiful walk in the Torrent starting area and made my way to the lift to go up to Thunderbluff. Oh yeah, I also admired some more beautiful scenery on the way there. I sent my Hearthstone to Thunderbluff and accepted a few quests from undeads in the Pools of Vision. By the way, if you're an absolute WoW freak and know lots about the lore, can you explain to me what the hell undead are doing in Thunderbluff? Aren't they supposed to be in Trustfall Glades? Anyway, I had to go back to the good old oasis in the Barrens and collect this special centaur's head. So I teamed up with a party, waited for him to spawn, and then we absolutely wrecked him.
Oh my god,
I
we
did
got
ding
him.
21 after turning his head in, so that was nice.
Yeah.
And then it was time to get yet another person's head? What the hell is going on here? It feels like I'm in a Game of Thrones episode with all the head chopping. Once that was done, I had to go back to the crossroads, but I felt explorative. So I hiked to the top of this mountain in the Barrens, and apparently there is a whole ass cult living up here, which I seriously was not expecting, so that was cool. After this neat little discovery, I went from the crossroads to the Stonetalon Mountains, which seemed like deja vu to be honest, but this time I went past Windshield Crag and went through an extremely long yet cozy tunnel that led me to freaking Ashenvale. Honestly, this was peak immersion because not only was Ashenvale extremely beautiful when I came out the other side of the tunnel, but I was just not expecting to take a secret tunnel that would lead me from one zone to another. I then made my way to the Zoramgar outpost, which was all the way north by the beach. I called the day there as that was all the adventure my puny brain could take. On day 8, I was seriously slacking. I basically spent the day wiping out the local Naga population and collected 20 other heads. At this point, the game is having me commit straight war crimes. And then I was hit with the most annoying objective of all. I had to grind from level 21 to 23 just by killing Nagas. This was so mind-numbingly boring that I literally procrastinated for over a week to get this done. On day 9, I had grinded off stream and I finally managed to hit level 23. I then had to hearth back to Thunderbluff, turn in some quests, and flew back to Orgrimmar. And now I had to go back to the Barrens. I'm not gonna lie, this back and forth between zones was getting annoying as the progression was not very linear, but I guess that's because I was following Rested XP. Anyway, I had to go into the mine that was in the same area where I farmed the Cat's Eye Emerald a few days back, and it was filled with Venture Co goblins. Thankfully, I was a few levels over them and it was very manageable. I killed their boss at the end of the cave, turned in the quest in Orgrimmar, and we were back where we started, baby. We were once again taking a Zeppelin back to Trustfall Glades. I went into Undercity to take a flight path to the Sepulchre, where I accepted my journey to Hillsbrad Foothills quests. I walked there from Silverpine, and I gotta be honest, this zone kinda sucked because it was alliance controlled and it was pretty damn dangerous. I made my way to Terran Mill, got the flight path, got me some food, and then ran to Dunhold Keep. This place was filled to the brim with humans, and I had to party up to make sure I didn't die. I murdered a bunch of stupid Alliance jailers who were enslaving our Horde buddies. After that was taken care of, I made my way to the Hillsbrad Fields, and honestly, this might have been the most dangerous place on our journey so far because it was so crowded. I had to cautiously aggro mobs one by one on the outskirts of the farm to get my farmer kills. I also got some help from some random guy to kill Farmer Ray, who was in one of the houses in the middle of the farm. Once I made it back to Terran Mill, I was window shopping and suddenly laid my eyes on this badass Executioner's Greatsword, which I bought for 1 gold and 30 silver without any second thoughts. I couldn't use it for now as I didn't have Greatswords leveled, but it would come in handy later. Unfortunately for me, I had to go back to the cursed farm area and collect 30 more human skulls. This was the start of a mini adventure with a Tauren warrior named Kowser. We spent a good chunk of time eradicating the farmers whilst looking for citizen Wilkes. Walkis? something like that, which was a rare spawn that kept getting tagged by other players as soon as he spawned. Fortunately, we managed to kill him, and we were feeling confident. We had to kill some Hillsbrad peasants, and they spawned in the courtyard of the town hall. I played it carefully and had decided from early on that I wouldn't venture too far into closed buildings. But Kowser wasn't like me. He was a reckless man. He ventured in there and pulled one too many mobs. I knew this was no good. We were swarmed with mobs and Kowser was aggroed by a level 30 mage. I'll never forget his last moments, fleeing for his life whilst getting ice bolted to death. Though I didn't know him for long, Kowser was a good man, and I had to witness his death firsthand.
He's dead!
This truly reminded me of the dangers of letting your guard down in hardcore WoW. Things had been going so smoothly that I had kind of forgotten about death and what it entailed. I knew then and there that his character was done for and that he had to start all over again. I felt so bad I even stayed in the party with his dead character for a few minutes, grieving. Anyway, it was time to move on. I partied up with another Tauren warrior and finished off killing the peasants. I then went back to Terran Mill where the weapons vendor had another upgrade waiting for me, the Merciless Axe. I purchased it and ended the session there. On day 10, I had to venture back to the Hillsbrad farms and kill some blacksmiths and collect their iron shipment box. Once that was done, I hurried back to Thunder Bluff, and boy was I glad to leave this cursed place that is Hillsbrad Foothills. Believe it or not, I didn't have enough gold to trade my class spells, so this dude was down to give me 5 gold. The catch was I had to go to him, and he was in Undercity. So I spent like 30 minutes getting to Undercity for 5 freaking gold. My god, how pathetic of me. But it had to be done for the greater good. I learned Execute, which is a super nice combat spell, trained my heavy wool bandage, and flew to Camp Taurajo. Remember that sexy Executioner's greatsword we bought at Terran Mill? Well, I spent some time leveling it by smacking low-level mobs in the face for a good amount of time, right outside of Camp Taurajo. I then murdered some blue scorpions and collected their yummy eggs. Was forced to recommit genocide once again on the Razorman population to get a sword, a staff, and a shield. This took me like an hour even though I did it with 3 other guys. Then I made my way to Balmodan where I massacred some innocent tradesmen and their foremen who were just doing their job. I turned in the quest to some cow wandering the Barrens and ding level 25 right then and there. I made my way back to Balmodan and there was this encampment where I spent some time decimating Baldoon dwarves for nitroglycerin, wood pulp, and sodium nitrate, which all sounded like ingredients to make a freaking bomb. And yes, I was in fact right, we did use the ingredients to make a bomb, and then I used that bomb to commit an act of terrorism by blowing up a Balmodan flying machine. No biggie. I then executed Wash de Pawn, which is this snake. Wash de Pawn, which is this snake bird thingy, and I was on my way to Doswallow Marsh. I made my way to an ogre camp, got me some first aid books, flew back to the crossroads for the millionth time, saved my Hearthstone, and flew back to Ratchet. I swam alongside the shore to hunt down Isha'awak, which was this cool water creature thing that I had to, of course, murder for his heart. And then I flew to Sunrock Retreat. I went to get my revenge on the stinking spider boss Besilith, which I destroyed with no struggle as I was now overleveled. And I also paid a visit to Windshire Crag, where I once again roleplayed as the Lorax and destroyed 2 tree cutting machines, XD9 and XD4. Oh yeah, and just as a souvenir, and my hatred for the greedy Venture Co-Goblins, I also blew up the Windshire Crag airport with a bomb. I then made my way to the top of the watermill that was across the river from Windshire Crag, murdered some gnome dude, and jumped down from the top into the water, which kinda felt like Assassin's Creed. You know, when the game had you dive into hay bales after getting a view of your surroundings from the top of a vantage point. On day 11, I was hiking to Stonetalon Peak, murdering deer for their eyeballs, where I suddenly dinged 26. Things were looking good for me. Once I made it to the peak, I spent an hour or 2 butchering all sorts of mystical creatures. I then wandered around Merc Fallon Lake for a bit, collecting Gaia seeds. Once that was over with, I made my way to the Charred Vale, which is a disgusting area, by the way. It's literally just a burned down forest filled with harpies and fire elementals and wyverns. I spent like 2 hours getting all the harpy kills that I had to get for my quest. I turned my quest in a Sunrock Retreat and was unfortunately ordered to go back to the poop hole that is the Charred Vale. This time around, I had to kill a boss harpy and collect her guts. She was easy to kill, and while I was at it, I spent some time doing some community service and planted the Gaia seeds I collected earlier. I then made my way to Malaka Jin, which I'm pretty sure means jerk off in Greek. And lo and behold, I was once again asked to go to the crossroads. So I hurried back there, made my way to Ashenvale, where I proceeded to smack some low-level mobs in the face to level my merciless ass that I purchased at Terran Mill. I then had to do this really cool escort quest where me and a few orc raiders took over an alliance outpost, and I'm not gonna lie, I was role-playing pretty hard towards the end.
For the Horde!
Oh yeah, I also accidentally aggroed like 3 mobs, and I would have died right then and there if it wasn't for my speed potion. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, escort missions can be pretty dangerous, and I'm definitely not foreshadowing anything by saying this. Wink.
Oh shit, I gotta go. Oh shit.
After the capture of this outpost, I walked over to the Splinter Tree outpost in Ding level 27. On day 12, I spent some time killing some night elf warriors that were being stealthy and hiding from me. I also had to kill this giant bird named Sharptalon to get his shiny claw. I did try to kill him by bringing him to the Forsaken camp, but they dealt way too much damage, and I didn't get the credit.
Count.
So I had to do it again with a group of random horde guys. Once that was done, I had to go to Mistral Lake, but on my way there I stumbled upon the prettiest damn scenery in the game. I spent some time taking in the scenery and taking some screenshots. Once I arrived at Mistral Lake, I was blown away by its beauty.
Oh my god, I just found the most gorgeous spot in the game. Holy smokes. Look at this. What?
So I spent some more time admiring the view and took some more screenshots before I dove into its waters and eradicated its water elemental population. I then made my way back to the beach at the north of Ashenvale and did an escort quest in which I had to protect this guy from an attack of Nagas, and also had to kill a giant Leviathan monster thingy at the end. I then made my way to the Thistle Fir village and once again committed genocide by killing every living Thistle Fir in my sight. Going deeper, I ventured into the Thistle Fir hold, which was activating my spidey senses because caves and closed spaces were very dangerous in hardcore WoW. Everything went smoothly as I was having an easy time killing the mobs inside and collecting the troll charms from the troll chests. I was feeling good. This was gonna be easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Then I was asked to do this escort quest where I had to escort a polar bear out of the cave. And well, I got overrun really quickly, but I managed to kill the mobs with Retaliate. The polar bear had mobs on him, but I was too low health to help him, so he died. And for some god-forsaken reason, when he died, the aggro transferred to me, who was sitting behind him on like 1 HP like a headless chicken. Before I knew it, I had 3 freaking mobs charging me and I had no potions or defensive abilities up and nowhere to go. I tried to make a run for the exit, but more mobs were waiting for me. And so ended Samsoni's journey,
I'm dead.
mauled by humanoid bear
GG.
things in a cave, all
It's
alone.
over. I'm dead. Yep, I'm dead. GG. That's it. That's where my adventure ends. I'm dead. Look, you have died. Your deeds of heroism will be remembered. Try again. What the fuck?
Death came to me when I least expected it. And now that I look back, I should have just waited for people to come along and ask for a party. I hope all of y'all watching learned from my mistakes. Don't let your guard down and do not do escort quests all alone. Initially, I had planned to make it to level 30 and call the challenge completed, but I died just a few levels short of my goal. It was a fantastic journey and one worth sharing with you guys, even though it didn't last as long as I had hoped. I never got to wield the iconic whirlwind axe, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that I got to experience hardcore World of Warcraft.